ways you can use tapes to mobilize scars. When you're in this area of the hand, which is quite superficial, there's not really much between the skin and the bone, and it's often quite uncomfortable to do very intensive massage. So one thing that can be very effective is to use tape to cover this. You can use standard paper tape, micropore paper tape. And all you do is cut a little piece, and this is so inexpensive that patients can basically have a roll and keep switching it out themselves. You just want to cover it up like that. And that's it. Very simple. And what's important here is when she's ready to get rid of it, she needs to get her hand very, very wet and not be pulling on the scar. So in this case, we would tell her to use water to remove it. So that's one option. A simple micropore paper tape comes in 2 different widths. Another option is to use easy tape, particularly for those scars there that get really, really stuck. And this is a great thing to use your leftover bits and pieces for. You don't really need to cut up a whole new roll, because usually when you're taping somebody, there's an extra piece left. So we want to just save these pieces. And I'm going to show you a zigzag scar method here. It's quite good at mobilizing scars. You just want to cut these in little pieces, and they're about 2.5 centimeters long. That does it. And so for me and for the patient, I often use 2 different colors so that I can explain what it is I want to do here. And because once they go home, 3 or 4 days from now, this scar, they're going to have to tape it. So you can see I have all my bits and pieces. We'll use some blue. Birgit's going to be so pretty. And it really also doesn't matter if they're all perfectly exactly the same width. Doesn't matter at all. So we have a little bit of a scar here. We're going to round our edges. And what we want to do is bring some movement into this so that the tape is actually doing the massage. So we take our tape and we tack. This is our scar here that we've drawn on. And we pull and we tack again. Now we're going to go the other direction. We're going to pull from the other side. We're going to start from this side. We are going to pull this direction and tack again. I'm going to go the other direction. We're going to start on this side, tack, pull, and tack again. And we'll do our last one here. Same thing here. We're going to tack, going the other direction now, pull, and tack again. Okay? And because these tapes will tend to pull up, we're going to put a stabilizing tape on there. And we're going to think about that. Do we really want to go backwards, or do we really want to go forwards with that? Whichever direction seems to give you the most resistance, that's the direction you want to be working on your pull. Okay? It's maybe a bit long. So in her case, I'm going to decide to actually pull forward a little bit. So I'm going to start at the front, pull this direction, and the tape will naturally pull in one direction. And this stabilizes it. There we go. Make a fist. And you can see when you're moving that this is pulling on her skin, and it's actually doing the massage for us. And it's vastly more comfortable than really getting in there and pushing hard in an area where there really isn't much padding. Okay. Feels good. If we have a scar on the other side, scars in this area often tend to be quite deeply attached, and they're often hard to get pulled out. You could use the zigzag tape, but you could also use what I call a daisy tape. Okay, make a pretty daisy here for Birgit. So that's a little bit of a different thing. We're going to tear it in the middle. We're going to do our pull here in the middle. We're going to tack on each side, but we really want to pull both directions there. Do the same thing here. And we're just pulling all over this middle point that is being pulled in so deeply and scarred, so that we're actually lifting this scar up. And actually this one's pretty good, even just with 3. Usually I'd put a 4th one in there, but as she moves, this will gently lift this up and away. And just the movement alone and the daily activity with the tape seems to help get these scars way more mobile.